All right, and welcome to an episode of the B-flo-show podcast. It is the new season, season 2. Glad for everybody to join us or not join us. We're coming at you like ESPN in a power outage. And with me today, I have my guest, Zach B. And he is videoless, but we're going to have a conversation with audio. For you kids out there, that is just without video, audio only. I'm going to be sipping some coffee. Zach is a comedian and a good friend of mine. We go back quite a long ways to like 2010, 11.
I think I've known you a little bit longer than that, Duncan.
Brandon.
Oh, Brandon. Oh, yeah, Brandon. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, 2010 sounds about right.
Yeah. So it's been at least, 5 minutes since we first introduced ourselves to each other. So, but yeah, Zach was telling me before the show, he was talking about a friend of his back in high school used to carry around a very interesting item. What was that, Zach?
He would carry a completely printed and self-binded copy of the script of the Michael Keaton classic, White Noise.
Old classic, not even. See, this was better when we did it off camera. Anyway, who does that? Seriously. I mean, one question I do have to kind of follow up with that. Did he ever do it with another script? Like, was he like a film buff, or was that just like his only film that he liked and carried that around?
That was the only one. We had a stretch in high school of falling in love with not like your classic bad movies, your Manos and stuff like that, but more contemporary hits that just sucked. I mean, we're talking National Treasure 2, G-Force, if you remember the CG hamster Disney movie, White Noise, Hannah Montana movie, the classics. But the only one that he put, I guess, ink to paper on was White Noise, all 74 pages of it.
Did he act out some of the scripts? Like, would he just go around like acting it out, or did he just read it over and over?
It was a very, very dry read out loud that no one asked him for. He would play all characters. He would not do any voices. He would just read like you're reading a text message, but it was the White Noise script.
What the hell? Wow. So, yeah, I remembered Michael Keaton was in that movie, and I remember thinking to myself while I was watching the movie, I'm like, Michael Keaton went from Batman to this. I couldn't believe that his career was at that low of a point in that. But, yeah, I haven't heard that title of a movie in years. That was like the first time I've heard it since it came out, I guess. I was working at Movie Gallery then. When that came out, so I got it. You were able Movie Gallery for the kids out there. That was like a Blockbuster, like second best Blockbuster.
Hello, welcome to Video Saver. How you doing? You got a water fountain here? Water fountain? No, we sure don't. But we did have some bottled water. Bottled water? Never mind. What are you? It's spot buddy, thanks.
So I would.
So,
Go ahead.
Brandon, not to distract you here, but you're explaining the concept to the kids of a movie store by using another movie store as an example.
Well, I still feel like people are a little are more familiar with Blockbuster than they were Movie Gallery. You hear Blockbuster, it kind of like, it's like, oh yeah, but I hear you. Like kids that don't know either would not even know. Okay, it's like a red box, but really bigger. It's like huge red box that you could walk inside of. Is that better?
I mean, now I'm just picturing you sitting inside of a red box waiting for people to come in.
Just throwing DVDs. And for the kids out there, a DVD is a digital copy of a movie. Well, not a digital copy, but an analog copy of a movie. It was a disc about this big that you put inside of a player. and was able to play on a movie onto a television set using a DVD player.
So what's the first D in DVD stand for?
Digital.
So how is it analog?
Analog in the sense that you can hold it in your hand.
So physical.
Yeah. The digital part, yes, in the recording, absolutely, because you didn't have to have a a needle that you put on it, like a record player, I guess.
Yes, I mean there's been no form of visual medium that's ever had a needle, considering film strips or just film strips, and then even like your VHS tapes. Same physical components, but they never had a needle to. I feel we're getting into semantics here when we're missing the point of White Noise is a great film.
What was I talking about? I was saying something. I got 3 free rentals. Like when I worked at the video store, I got 3 free rentals to have at any point. So I was able to watch the movie when it came out, for free. And, a lot of movies in that era I watched just because I could, and I didn't have to rent them. You rented movies back in those days.
I think you can still rent on iTunes.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, the digital format does give you the ability to rent for like $3.99 a pound.
So like only in the UK, you can only rent them in the UK.
A pound, yeah.
Yeah.
I am broadcasting from jolly old England here.
How's the weather?
I'm a little stressed out, so I'm going to use some stress away. You can't see it because it's in. There we go. Stress away.
Can you do that again?
It's like essential oil. It was just sitting beside me for some reason.
The best part is it's going to work. It's going to just kill in audio.
Yeah. White Noise.
So I would say just from these quick 5 minutes here, Brandon, why are we friends? I feel like I'm just being a jerk to you the entire time.
I feel like we've teeter-tottered for a few years. It's kind of like, it's like we do that guy thing that's like, it's like, hey man, how you been? And you like talk, even though you haven't talked in like, 2 years? I do that with a lot of people because of depression, crippling depression.
Is that where the ad for Zoloft goes in?
Your life can be better with Zoloft. And you're dancing at a wedding for some reason.
You weren't invited to the wedding. You don't know anyone at the wedding.
You just show up and like, yeah, I'm so happy because I'm on antidepressants.
So speaking of antidepressants, 2020, Brandon, how you holding up?
Not good. Not good at all. You're actually the first person to ask me that. No, it's been a wild one. 2020, you would think in the scheme of things sounds like an amazing year because there's like 220s and everybody it's going to be the year of vision, all I've seen is death.
But you still saw it crystal clear.
Yeah. Death and disease, fires and destruction, an orange man.
Yeah, but the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl, so that's something that happened in this year that didn't involve death.
You know what? Between January and March, everything was seemingly okay, for the most part. And then when I saw that thing about Iran, it's like, oh, hell, here we go. I thought we were going to go to war. Turns out we went to war with ourselves.
Why do you keep pausing? Like, are there wacky sound effects? I've never listened to your show, so are you making wacky sound effects?
There will be now.
We keep going to war. Slide whistle. Just very impromptu ooga oogas and stuff like that.
That was the punchline. I guess, if there is one. But yeah, it's been real shitty, man. 2020 has been one of those years that you just want to kill yourself, you know. But luckily, you know, I have Zoloft to thank for helping me stay in there, and a lot of coffee. Been drinking a lot of coffee, eating a lot of lunches shirtless over the sink.
Now, don't you still go into the office?
No, I'm on the ranks of the unemployed.
Ah, that explains the shirtless. I was going to say, if you weren't, that would make you unemployed.
Yeah,
Getting caught one too many times eating shirtless at the sink.
yeah, yeah. You can't really do that type of behavior at work and expect to keep your job.
Not in 2020, am I right, guys?
Any other year besides 2020, that is acceptable though. Every year, up until now, it's a new policy change.
We'll bring it back in 2021.
Got to. So, how about you, Zach? How you been holding up, man?
As good as you can in a world such as this. On a personal note, you know, I'm not sure if this should go out to the public, but I was getting married this year. I'm no longer.
Oh.
Still together, but we just delayed the wedding because of COVID.
Oh, okay, good.
I like to set it up in the worst
way. A lot
possible.
worse than that.
Well, she found out I was going to be on this show, and it just hasn't been the same since.
Makes sense. Yeah, you have to question somebody's character from coming on this show. Seriously,
because it's so full of characters.
Hey, woo!
I'm gonna make you use sound effects. No, it's been good. Luckily, my work I can do from home, so I haven't really had to worry about that. I'm one of the lucky ones. Luckily, it hasn't affected my job much. So still have it, still happy, still healthy. Just trying not to drive each other crazy. You know, me and the fiance have been working from home, going on 6 months now. So there is really no separation.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. Me and my wife, we get tired of seeing each other for sure. She does VIP Kid, teaching Chinese kids how to speak English, so they can take over eventually. Is that racist? I don't know. Probably.
Well, I was gonna say I'm not touching that one. My lawyer says I shouldn't answer that one. But now, slip of the tongue wife, Borat my wife, or was there things that you didn't tell me, Brandon?
Yeah, I actually got married in 2017, 18, 19, 20. No, wait, when was that? I don't remember. We got married at some point on a whim, and it didn't really work out there for a while. And then, we decided to get sober and give sobriety a shot, and I've been sober for about 2 years going on, me and her. So, yeah, man, we decided to do all that, and here we are.
Well, congrats on both.
Thanks, man. I didn't know you didn't know. That's what's funny about us. I know it's like these major life shit happens, and it was like, oh, well, and then we'll talk like a year later or whatever.
Well, I knew the sobriety. I didn't know the wife.
Yeah. Sober. I got sober, got a wife. It's typical cessation.
So where are the 2.5 kids and a dog? That's the next thing.
I got a dog too. Yeah, I got a dog and a cat now. Actually, I have a dog named Scoob. It's like an American Staffordshire Terrier.
I'm gonna pretend I know what that looks like.
And yeah, it is kind of weird. It's like a pit bull, sort of, but not as intimidating. So it's got all the bark and no look of meanness. Like people aren't going to run away from it. Like, oh God. And then the cat is a terrorist. She jumps around and scratches everything. So we got her as a kitten, so she's kind of in that exploratory stage like I was in college. So,
which was like, what did you do?
Explored.
Like Magellan or your sexuality?
That's all I'm gonna say.
So how did it feel going around the Cape of Good Hope?
Africa is a delight.
And with that, that's our geography lesson of the episode.
Good night. No. Yeah, so it's been, you know, ups and downs, but you know, it's good. It's good. Got the podcast going back up here, obviously, and this is really good for me. This is a platform that I've kind of used for kind of a mental health thing, kind of, you know, reaching back out. I'm that type of person, and this is like legit serious. I do like stay to myself a lot, so I don't like go out, especially if I'm not social, like drinking and things like that. So I stay to myself a lot and that kind of thing. So it is good for me to connect with people, you know, talk, see what's up, and have some laughs.
So I've actually been pre-planning for a podcast for the past 2 years myself.
Pre-planning.
Yeah. One of these days we're going to move from pre-planning to planning. And then come like 2026, we're going to launch.
Nice, nice. Well, it's better to be prepared. You know, preparing for failure is preparing for success. That's the saying, right? Did I get that wrong? Sorry.
I was still just pausing for you to like put
okay.
in a funny clip of something or something.
A car rolling down a hill.
Well, I mean, you have home video of that, right? Since you did roll a car down a hill.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't recorded, but that would have been a fantastic clip of me rolling a Nissan Versa down a hill. And it really was. That was a funny story about that. It was really one of those things where I look back, like the insurance company's point of view on that, because they're going to see it and it's going to be like, this guy rolled a car down a hill. Yeah, right. You know, it just seems like I was doing it to get out of a car payment from their, you know, point of view, right?
Well, did you include a photo of yourself with the insurance paperwork?
No.
No one would ever roll it. Oh, look at him. Yep. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense.
But yeah, it's really scary though. I'm just glad nobody got like hurt. That, I mean, if anybody could have saw it, it was just like the car went down my driveway, steep incline, all the way down to like a main road and like jumped the hill into like a tree, like perfectly into the center of a tree. And they're like apartment complexes on either side, like back porches. Like it could have hit like anything, you know. And it's really lucky, man. There wasn't more property damage, and I'm not in jail right now.
For that, at least.
But there's nothing illegal, I guess, about, you know, your car killing somebody.
I mean, anytime you see those crazy laws on the books, there's had to be someone that was the cause of it. You might be the reason why we can't put verses in trees anymore.
New law on the bill. If a car kills somebody unmanned, it is the person's fault.
It's Brandon's law.
It's Brandon's law and Brandon's fault. It's just like I get charged with that automatically.
You're just looking at your car bill. Why did it go up another tree? Really? Another car in a tree?
Yeah, I think my insurance like went down after that too. It's weird. Like I don't even know. I don't know how this stuff works. It was like, okay, the car destroyed itself. You get negative points on your license. There were positive points on your license.
You just finally called their bluff. Like, oh, well, I didn't expect anyone would ever do. No, let's give him a discount. He showed initiative.
It wasn't through Geico, though. I'll tell you that. If they're listening, I don't want you as an ad supporter.
You're just pissing off every advertiser you can.
Good. It's the anti-ads. So, what?
Go on. I apologize. You know, as the guest, I should wait till you ask.
So we had football start this week, and I was going to talk about a little football. I know this isn't ESPN, but I'm sure they want to hear my opinion and your opinion on week one of the NFL. So Tom Brady shit the bed, and I really enjoyed that because I'm not a Brady fan. What were your thoughts on Mr. Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I mean, I'm not a huge Brady fan myself, but I'm not going to shit on the guy. I mean, I'm a Panthers fan, so yes, I hate the fact that Tom Brady beat the Panthers at their best possibility to win a Super Bowl back in '03. But he's of a certain age, so it's kind of impressive that he's still doing what he's doing, even though he's not as good as he once was. And he hasn't had really a training camp because of COVID and all that, so there's a lot of moving parts down there in Tampa Bay outside of Gronk. But still, it is funny just to see him do a pick six and throw another interception and get beat by 17, I think, like 17 or 20. So I can't really take a lot of pride in it or humor in it because the Saints won, which means they're a game up on the Panthers. That's a whole different thing. But no, it is fun to see Brady potentially have his first losing season while wearing a ridiculous colored uniform.
Yeah. Did he even connect with Gronk in that game? I didn't see him. I don't even think
2 catches for like 11 yards.
Okay. So he had a couple of receptions. But I know they were staying on Gronk pretty good. He did have a lot of emotions. It's funny, it's week one, and the season's really long. There's no way to really gauge on how they're going to do, but he seemed very emotional about the game and very kind of not sore loser, but very frustrated that he's that happened, the pick six, and it was good to see him that way.
He seems to be a perfectionist. And football isn't the game for perfectionists. You can't control both sides of the ball. You can't control your teammates whatsoever. I mean, he could be the best player on the field. It doesn't matter if you're surrounded by 10 idiots. Granted, he has a lot of weapons between Evans and Godwin and Gronk in a diminished capacity and the backfield of, Jones, Fournette, and I think they have LaShawn McCoy. But it's still a new coach, new system, rust, COVID. You're going to suck for the first couple of weeks. And then you're going to suck because you're 43, and then you're going to suck because you're Tom Brady and you're assistant quarterback in the Patriots. And when you have the best coach ever in Belichick and weapons all around you year in, year out, you're going to look really good. Not saying he's not good, he's just not the best ever. He just happened to be in the best situation ever.
Are they going to fire Dan Quinn?
I would assume so, eventually. Or it might be one of those, I'm not sure when his contract's up, but it might be we're not going to renew you. So you fired me? We didn't renew you.
Yeah, we're starting Falcons are my team. Boo-hoo. And another reason I hate Brady was because of that Super Bowl. And by hate, I mean really respect, honestly. And we lost it's going to be that thing forever. Georgia sports forever cursed for some reason. The biggest example of this is I will say they at least had one World Series, but the Atlanta Braves went to the World Series many, many times in the 90s, only won it once. I don't remember exactly how many times, but I know they only won 95 in the World Series, or was it 96? Was it 96?
No, it was 95 because they beat the 95. Indians, which happens to be my team. And then they lost 96-97 against the Yankees when they repeated.
Yeah, it seems like
it was Yankees in 96. 97 was actually Indians Marlins when the Marlins won, and then it was back to Yankees Braves in 98 as well.
Nice. But anyway, as a kid, they let me down more than they lifted me up. And Georgia UGA fan, so they've gotten to this very close to the SEC championship, to the national title just a couple years ago. Let me down. Falcons did the same thing with the lead. They had it. They blew it. Tom Brady was there. And, at least you have somebody to blame it on in that situation. So, hey, it is what it is, and Georgia sports is for some reason cursed to not
Brandon,
win the big one.
when did UGA win the championship? Was that 80?
It was 80 season. It was 80-81. I think they may have actually won it in 81. You know how it is, though? It's like they win it in 81, but the season was like mostly
Yeah.
80.
And when were you born?
85.
So any chance you're the curse?
There's a huge chance, actually. Yeah. So I will off myself and maybe they'll win. But I remember growing up. So my dad had these Coke bottles, and not like Coke cane, but like Coca-Cola. He had the 81 championship commemorative Coke bottles, and I remember the date because of that. And apparently they won in like 42, I think was the other date. So like way back in the day, it was like 42. There was a guy named Charlie Trippy who's actually on that team. He's still alive. He was actually an NFL Hall of Famer as well. I actually met him. He was a landlord for a previous job I had. Like he actually had the building we were in. So apparently he's a real estate guy too, where he just owned that piece of property. Really old. He's like 90s. But I did get to meet him. It was pretty cool. But yeah, UGA hasn't won many, and that's really, I get into a lot of talks with Florida fans, and Florida fans' biggest thing is, oh, you guys haven't won a championship since the 80s, so that's their go-to thing with them winning with Tebow back in the aughts. So, they kind of hold that in comparison that we haven't won a championship, but I always go back to in the meetings between UGA and Florida, we've won more overall meetings. So at least with that team, we have a winning record. So suck it, but that's the big thing. We can't win the championships. But that's true. It is true in a sense that we can't win the big one, and I can't argue with that.
Now, just imagine if college football wasn't a thing, but you have that exact same conversation that you just had, where you're just talking to people who prefer the state of Florida to people who prefer the state of Georgia.
I have a really interesting theory on this, actually. You know how there was a thing called the Civil War?
I'm not aware.
And wars in general. I really feel like sports competition kind of like take that down a notch, It's funny you mention it, so, it's like Georgia, Florida, like Florida's better, Georgia's better, or this is better, so these regional conflicts that we could have kind of like with sports, they're kind of soothed a little bit. So I don't know, that's probably a weird theory, but it's like Georgia and Florida doesn't go to war to see who's better because they have a football game that's that determines it, softly.
Do you ever plan on expanding on that or submitting that as a thesis anywhere?
No.
Okay, I would say don't. I would not waste any more time on that theory.
On the B-flo-show podcast, obviously, where I could get my thoughts and feelings out to the world.
Some of them shouldn't go out to the world.
I agree. I really agree. And,
now, Brandon, what about this theory? Now, rather than your whole war conflict, aren't you really just rooting versus one set of laundry versus another set of laundry? Especially with college football, players leave within 3 or 4 years. The only thing you're really rooting for is that white jersey versus a blue jersey. Same way in the pros, oh, I love LeBron until he's no longer on my team. Now I hate LeBron. The only thing he changed was his shirt.
He changed his clothes.
So you're just a fan of those clothes versus those other clothes.
And the loosest sits, yes, but they do change cities. They change territories. So it's like, this person, it's very territorial. It's like, where was LeBron before the Lakers? Was it, I'm not a huge basketball fan. It was Miami?
Cleveland.
Cleveland Cavaliers or whatever. So, you know, he went from Cleveland to LA. So he dissed the turf of Cleveland, you know. So you have most Cleveland fans, I believe, is okay with it because he got him a championship or helped. And, you know, but still, it's like a turf war. It's not just laundry, you know, it's the city he represents. But you still can, like, I guess, like the guy, no matter what clothes he wears.
Or whatever clothes he doesn't wear. Am I right, ladies?
Yeah.
Brandon's off the market. Okay, I'm just reminding everyone you're off the market.
I'm not for sale anymore. I don't live this way. But yeah, so laundry versus laundry. I guess, you know, that does make some pretty good sense, though. The ball does change. It's the same ball, but it's a different ball.
I don't know where you're going with this, and I just want to abort this conversation as quick as we can.
Abort? We don't want to talk about abortions.
Go on. Thoughts? Are you pro Roe or pro Wade?
Pro v. Wade.
I mean, there were professionals involved, yes.
I'm more for V than anything.
Now, it never made sense why he wouldn't carry a script for V for Vendetta around. Like, that's more quotable than white noise.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, why pick white noise? Why? I mean, I love it when I fall asleep. I have to have a fan running. But, I mean, other than that.
I mean, I imagine no one would ever call you out on it. You would never get sued. You could probably do it around the writer of White Noise, and he still wouldn't know what movie you're quoting.
What if it was just a prequel, a very bad prequel to Batman, you know, series?
Or it was a sequel. You know, Alfred dies, Bruce goes out to find Alfred's killer and talks to a spirit medium and gets the facility of White Noise, has Lucius build a White Noise machine for him, and could happen. Could. I mean, with all the crappy stuff DC does, they very easily could do this.
I think
but
so.
Actually, we're missing out on the White Verse CU, or the White Noise VC. You know what? Joke aborted. Joke aborted. Moving on. Next topic.
Next, yeah. So I mean, really, the hot topics of 2020, COVID-19. Have you seen any? Has that affected your life? Have you like went out of your way to like stay at home? I know you mentioned you've been working from home.
So we've been working from home, me since about mid-February, her mid-March. I mean, we'll still do like grocery store runs, post office runs, like errands, but you know, I haven't window shopped in months. I think we went to a restaurant once and sat on the patio, went to a brewery once and then realized like, oh no, people don't care. It's not worth this. Tried to support local business as much as I could, you know, always if we're ordering takeout, order local. For getting drinks or something, you know, support Creature or Academia or something like that around town. Bought tons of gift cards, I said I'm in a lucky position that, you know, my income hasn't been affected. So why not spread the wealth as much as I can? So.
For sure. You've been wearing your masks, you know, go out, wear a mask everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I am. I didn't everywhere until mandated, just because when I go to the post office, I literally drop the package in the slot. Like, I don't wait in line, I don't talk to anyone. I'm in there for 25 seconds or less. So I didn't see the point in wearing a mask until it went to, oh no, everyone has to everywhere you go. All right, cool, not a problem. But just little circumstances like that, you know, if you go to the grocery store, yes. If you're literally in a place less than a minute and not talking to another human being or being around another human, why not, I guess, other than just optics. So
Yeah, it's kind of like I'm doing my part, you know. If you're like by yourself walking down the street, nobody around, it's like I have this on. But it's just it really is like another planet. You know, you go out and you see everybody just in masks. It is. It's like everybody's getting ready for surgery. You know, it's crazy. Going to Kroger or wherever to get groceries, everybody's in masks, and it just feels like a strange, just like you know, I don't even know how to describe it, man. Just otherworldly, and that's one of the big things I've kind of felt in this, you know, pandemic. Is just the way life has changed, and what I'm wondering is when is it always going to be this? Are they finally going to be like, look, you know, we don't have to do this as much, and by they, whoever they are, and also like as far as the masks are concerned, like everybody's going to keep wearing them only when they're sick, or they're going to not wear them, you know, if they are sick or not sick, you know. So I'm just wondering. And I hate that term, the new normal. I hate that shit. So I'm not going to say it. But it's like, what, you know, at what point is everybody going to kind of not be afraid of this thing anymore? Or is it just here to stay forever?
that's what I was gonna say is, you know, what will be normal? When will we get to normal? And what will normal look like? Because I don't necessarily see masks going away, at least, hell, 2 years, just because it'll always be that fringe. I mean, I'm of the camp of I would rather do something to benefit someone else, even if it's a minor inconvenience. I hate seeing all those mask things of like, well, I'm not going to wear a mask, I'm not sick. Like, well, it's not for you. Just wear it for someone else. It doesn't take that much. Even if you don't truly believe that it's going to protect anything, just do it. It's not too much to ask. But I could see that going on, is it probably 2 years? Like, until you can get a true vaccine that truly kills it or wipes numbers down to very, very minimal, I see that lasting forever. I'm more concerned, I mean, selfishly, as of course, of, you know, live entertainment. You know, one of my biggest hobbies is live music, live comedy, like supporting the artists, supporting the creative types that, you know, aren't sitting in their cushy podcast studio making their own podcast. You know, the real artists. And those where it's like, no, I'm used to going to 20, 30 shows a year. 2020 is going to be the first year since I was 15 that I have not stepped foot into a live performance. And it's just weird to think, and how is that coming back? Because those live and thrive on community, small enclosed spaces. I mean, you got to think from your smallest DIY spots all the way up to giant arenas. It's just bodies on top of bodies, breathing, screaming, shouting, enjoying, laughing. You can't really do that with a mask. You can't really do that social distance. When's that coming back? Is that coming back? Will there be a generation who doesn't really know what a live concert is?
Mm. Yeah, a couple of things there. I know there was a Woodstock. It wasn't only, I mean, it was a response to Vietnam. I'm hearing now that there was like a Hong Kong flu that was happening at that point. And that was the real name. It wasn't like the China virus, you know, now. But there was a response to that kind of thing. So maybe we're just headed toward another Woodstock in that area. It may be extremely dangerous, but who knows? And also, did you see those, the plans, the kind of social distance concerts? That was a big thing a while back. I don't know if it's still out there, but it's like, you know, the concerts, they have like these gated off areas for about 6, 7 people, you know, in a kind of like corrals. You know, we're being herded like cattle now. But I actually like that. Like being older, I do like the fact that you kind of have your own little group in one of these little like things to watch a concert. But again, when I was younger, I loved the mosh. I loved the, you know, the concerts where it was like really heavy and like, yeah, you know, and you're up front. So, I mean, yeah, I feel you, man. live venues, especially creatives. You know, comics are really, you know, it's really hurting comics. I think a lot of them are having bad mental health now because they can't travel and do their things. So, you know, just listening to other podcasts.
I mean, so I've seen the pod idea. I've seen that in the drive-in concerts. I think the pods are a smarter idea than the drive-in. But I mean, kind of your point, it loses to me, you know, some of the community that I go to concerts for. Yeah, I'm getting older too, and obviously I'm not going to be, you know, throwing elbows in the mosh pit anytime. But there's still something against, you know, maybe being pushed in a large crowd, you know, of the chorus of your favorite song or something like that. That's just not going to hit the same when it's you sitting with your four friends drinking a cocktail, sitting down watching a performance. It's still nice to see the musicianship and the showmanship of the artist, but you're losing that aspect of, well, why would I want to see it live? As opposed to, well, I could just sit down and listen to a live recording or watch a DVD or watch the live stream, which a lot of artists and comics are also doing live streams. And, you know, it's just on that front, what do you get out of a concert, and can you replicate that in a socially distanced, responsible way? And I think that's just everyone now is trying to figure that out, while also trying to, you know, as you said, maintain positive mental health, maintain money, especially a lot of these, you know, especially it hurt them hard as well because most of the creative type are also in the service industry as their quote unquote day jobs. So suddenly the rest of the 3 restaurants that they bartend or serve in or something are all closed. Then they can't perform the show on the weekend, and they're just royally screwed every which way. And, you know, I don't really think we've done enough to support them, you know, from a financial government level. But that's probably a topic for a different show. Enter slide whistle. So,
Yeah,
you know,
so I saw this. What?
I was going to say, you know what really dates a show? Week 1 football talk.
It does what now?
It really dates a show. You know, the timeliness of just listening to sports debate months in the future.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm trying to have this show be timeless. You're right.
I mean, we could just talk about it in generalities. Brandon, did you catch the game on that date?
The game. Triple H.
I love roller coaster.
Yeah, this is timeless material, man. You're right. I appreciate it though, like for real. Because, you know, if I mention a time or a place, then, you know, nobody's going to listen to the podcast like they're not doing now.
So, I mean, I don't want to get too down in the weeds here, but like, how many dozens of people listen to the show?
Dozens. I would say at least 1 dozen. A baker's dozen. Baker's dozen.
How many that don't live in your house or are related to you?
Don't have that many in the house. So 7.
Nice. Well, I just asked because I, you know, a little bit about me. I used to run a webcomic back in the 2010s, 2012 days.
Can you still find that? Is it still up?
Oh, no, we finally lost the domain about 6 months ago. But that used to be up, and we thought we were getting popular, and we bought shirts and everything to sell, and we sold out of 45 shirts out of our order of 50, and 40 of them went to family members. So it's cool. We're getting nope, we just have supported family. Screw you guys.
It's I mean, at least you have that, so that's good.
Not when you're buying them and you're making $8 an hour, and you just lose hundreds of dollars on t-shirts because you should never buy merchandise or sell merchandise.
It's like, you know, the supply versus the demand. I guess the demand wasn't there as much as the supply was.
So when are the B-flo-show shirts coming out?
When there's a demand, you know, everybody has to demand them. And, you know, I don't know if anybody wants like the logo. It's like behind me on a shirt.
Again, works great in audio.
Yeah. I was if there's a little better design, maybe on down the road, you know, I might get some shirts, put them up. But I don't know. They would have to be pre-ordered, I believe, if I were to do it. Like, so many hundred have to be sold before putting the money up.
What would be the dumbest thing you would put your logo on?
The dumbest thing, like I would actually do, or something I can think of.
Like you would attempt to sell, like because it's kooky and it's your brand of humor. Like, what would be the weirdest thing? Like, not a T-shirt, not a magnet, not a hat. Would it be like a garlic press or a mini football or like a Hot Wheels track where you launch a Nissan Versa or something like that?
I like that idea. Probably the craziest thing I can think of is probably like some kind of sex toy or a rubber chicken, which can also be used as a sex toy. But
Now, outside of shilling your own merchandise, what would you use a rubber chicken for in a non-sexual way? Because I think we all understand how we use it sexually, but
well, the rubber chicken has a lot of different uses. You can stir chili with it. You can put it on your counter. Just have it as kind of a talking conversation piece. You can throw it to your dog. It could be a chew toy. So it's a multifaceted thing. You never know when you might need a rubber chicken. You can use it as a plunger.
Yeah, I guess you could.
For the kids out there who don't know what a plunger is, it's where you unclog the stop-up toilet.
So a plunger is like a red box, but you use it for your toilet?
Sure. A life-size red box. Dude, where did they see? I'm giving Redbox ideas. Why don't Redbox just like open a few of those? Like, this is a Redbox store and make it retro.
Because that model failed. Your advice to Redbox is to open up a Blockbuster, essentially?
Yeah, it's got the retro feel now. Like it could come back, like things from the 80s come back or whatever. Like Walkman, they're making a comeback.
Yeah, but that's because everyone knows cassettes are cool. Cassettes are the best way to listen to media. I mean, I can't wait till we finish up with this. You send me the audio, and I'm going to rip it to cassette, listen to it on my Walkman.
Put out all that effort just to convert it back to analog. Very nice.
It's just the fidelity. I need to hear you talking over you in just the crispest cassette quality audio.
It makes a lot of sense. It does.
Cassette store day is a thing.
Cassette store day?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with record store day. The concept that's it's like Black Friday for record stores where they get limited pressing, small batch records, but it's supposed to drive attention to your local independent record store. And that's been happening now for at least 10 years plus. But now they're doing that for cassettes. And it just raises the question, why?
There are local record stores?
You see, a record store is like a red box, but they sell music on different forms. They sell big red box like discs and little red box discs. Some are called CDs and others are called vinyl records or LPs. See, now those are on acetate, which is like a red box when it initially presses onto a DVD. And really, I just want to use every analogy with Redbox now moving forward. You see, when a man goes to a Redbox and 9 months later, there's a little red box that comes out.
Go on.
Have you ever seen Boss Baby?
No. Isn't that, no, that's Mastermind. It's a baby with a cigar, right?
Yeah, how do you, A, why do you remember the movie Mastermind? And two, why would you confuse Mastermind with Boss Baby?
Look, I remembered White Noise. I can remember Mastermind.
That's Will Ferrell, right?
Yeah.
Well,
it's Megamind. It's not even Mastermind, it's Megamind.
Masterminds was a movie with Zach Galifianakis that came out a couple years ago. and I think Kristen Wiig and some others. Never saw it, just saw the trailer.
I mean, it can't be as good as White Noise. I mean, seriously. The movie, White Noise.
As opposed to White Noise, the board game, based on the true events of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't you sell B-Flo branded DVD copies of White Noise?
I mean, that sounds like copyright infringement.
Well, no, it's the White Noise box, but it has the B-Flo logo on it. And when they put the DVD, which is like a movie on a disc, into their DVD player, which is a machine that reads movies on discs, it just plays your logo for 1.5 minutes, kind of like a DVD menu.
It's good, like loop over and over again.
Yeah, but it just put to the audio of White Noise.
You can always put a Rickroll on there. Put a Rickroll, yeah. I'm not the originator of the Rickroll.
Who is?
I don't know. That's a good trivia question. I have no question. I don't know. I don't know who put that out originally.
Is it though? Like, are we at a point in society now where memes could be trivia? Like,
Yeah.
that just seems crazy.
I mean, it's like a language. It really is. It's like if you know the meaning of the meme, it's like you can talk in a stream of memes and GIFs and peanut butter and all that, man. It's just crazy.
So I could show you like a photo of a dog. Then I could show you a moving picture of a photo of a dog. And then I could say the word Skippy, and then you would know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, peanut butter, obviously.
Now, are you a crunchy man or a smooth man?
Crunchy. I like both, but crunchy.
Mr. Good Bar or a Crunch Bar?
Mr. Goodbar. I like the nuts.
Crackle or Nestle Crunch?
Crackle.
Now, Crackle the candy bar or Crackle the streaming service?
The streaming service.
Isn't that where Joe Dirt 2 was on?
Yes, and I'm a Joe Dirt fan, and I couldn't get through the sequel. Like, I really liked the first one, but yeah, couldn't get through it. Maybe I didn't give it a chance.
How quickly did you turn it off?
I think I was smoking crack at the time, so it was 10 minutes.
So you made it more into Joe Dirt 2 than people are going to into this podcast.
Oh yeah. That's why I told I smoke crack, because nobody's going to make it this far into it.
So I do have to ask though, where do you get the music, the bumper music?
The bumper music?
The music at the beginning and the end. You see, a bumper is just the music in the podcast.
I get it it was a free website. It's like license free music. So just Google like license free music. There's a lot of things on YouTube as well. You can type in unlicensed music and you'll get a lot of different, results from that. And you just kind of go through and see what you like. I like that one because it was kind of video gamey, kind of, what is it called? MIDI. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I chose that one. The if you don't know, you can download audio off of YouTube. You have to find like good downloaders, and it's really kind of tough to actually get an MP3, but you can find. I think I used Y2 Mate or something like that, which sounds like a dating service, but it's not. And yeah, and also I think you know my friend David List.
David List?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with David List.
Cool. He actually has SoundCloud that he was gonna do. Well, he still does video game music a little bit. So he has different samples and things on his site too that you can use for free. I'm sure he'd give you permission on that too.
And how would you find that SoundCloud of David List? How would you find David List's SoundCloud?
Well, it's up in the clouds, so you have to rent a helicopter. And no, I'll send you the link.
Well, I just meant more so trying to give a free plug to David.
Oh, it's the Real D List on SoundCloud. So you just go on there, search for the Real D List. Maybe DT List. So if you don't get it with the first one, try DT List. And it'll have a picture of him. It's kind of like a black and white color. And then yeah, check out his work. He's done a lot of things. So he's got a whole SoundCloud page.
So not to, I know it's your baby, and you can't pick favorites, but so far, what has been your favorite either episode or topic you've discussed on the B-flo-show?
Good question. I'm kind of looking at it as kind of a whole. So I kind of look at the podcast as a entity of itself instead of segmented episodes, even though they are. But I've had very interesting guests. I would say just the ones I've done solo. I really enjoyed online reviews. Just because I really like the concept of people who are leaving reviews for ridiculous places like the World Trade Center. So they're like, I went there and they didn't have any hot dogs. 1 star, I just think that's hilarious, to review a national park or something like that, where it's obviously you're going there for one thing, or maybe their motives are off or whatever for going to that place. So the concept of that show was probably one of my favorites, and probably will do another, a follow-up episode on that one. As far as, guests, I've had several guests on, and I really enjoyed Nate Allen. He was one of my first ones that I interviewed. And then Caleb Sinan was on, so he was really fun. I really like the kind of the country upbringing we kind of share. So, yeah, that's pretty much season 1. Season 2, I'm just going to try, I'm doing interviews, obviously, or talking with friends, and I'm going to get a little more personal this season. So kind of introducing everybody to who I am as a person, which is scary for me and everybody else, hopefully.
So if you had to give us a sneak peek into the life of Brandon, what would be something that you haven't shared or people would want to know about you or would never think about you? Just by looking at you or talking to you or knowing you, what would be something unexpected? Not necessarily a dark, deep secret or, funny, I used to have a turtle or something like that, but just, something that not necessarily would shock, but just, I didn't know that.
What's funny is a lot of people don't know that I can play guitar, which is funny because I don't really advertise that out. So I'd probably say that. I do play an instrument. And, I am very introverted, I believe, even though, alcohol really brought it out of me to be social, that kind of stuff. But a lot of people are shocked to find out that I'm pretty boring and really introverted for, maybe what I post on Facebook or kind of the aspirations I have. So I would say that's a little shocking to or not to people. And did I get the job? Can I follow?
What's your 5-year plan? 5-year plan?
5-year goals. Hopefully I don't die of COVID within the next 5 years. And I can continue to draw unemployment for another 5 years so I don't have to work. Yeah. Now, 5 years, I really want, it'd be nice to, and this kind of been a goal of mine, probably everybody that is in a creative outlet or venture, is to actually start, seeing something come of your creative aspirations. and projects. So that is one thing that I'm kind of, going towards very apathetically, very, very, wholeheartedly, but not like, more of a hobby than anything, but hopefully it turns into more because I mean, that's the American dream, right? To get paid or do something you like doing. And it's a passion. It's not just like I'm going to a job or trying to talk this person out of money, so.
How often do you talk people out of money?
Well, I've been in a lot of sales. So when you're selling, I mean, you're just basically talking people into buying things. So you're talking them out of money. That's what I meant.
Okay. It's one of those classic Brandonisms where I'm like, I don't really know what that means.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget I have to explain things.
Like a red box.
Like a red box, yeah. For the kids who don't know what a red box is, that's what you do when you don't have a PS4 to stream your movies. You gotta go to the red box.
I think, funny enough, there is a Redbox app for PS4.
Probably, yeah. It's like what I do like about Redbox is it is one of the only things. I don't know. I haven't really checked into this, so I may be wrong. But it is one of those outlets that you can still rent video games.
They stopped that service, I believe. I know late 2019 they stopped selling games, and I think that's because they stopped renting them, so they stopped buying them. Because I mean, it was up there, but it was like $2 or $2.50 a night, which wasn't too bad. But with games nowadays, you're going to bring it home and have to download a 40 gig patch, where you may not be able to play it for 2 days, especially depending on your internet. So they probably were giving out a lot of free rentals or a lot of angry customers. So just screw it, we're going to stop doing it.
I rented Call of Duty 1 week later. It's ready to play. I have a separate Xbox with a terabyte for Call of Duty. Thanks. Was it Activision?
And Treyarch, and who knows who else is involved with it now.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Absolutely. Redbox. I know they had to be losing money too because there's a scam you can pull. Not that I have, but for all you kids listening, you want to get some free games and movies. You can get a Redbox and put like a shitty movie that you don't want, and then just return it. Or did they may have taken precaution somehow that not working, but yeah, if you just want. That's another, downfall of automation, right? As a store employee, I would have checked to see if that movie was the right movie inside the case before I put it back on the shelf. So, you can't miss that human touch for that robot there.
But they would have to pay you labor, your propensity to steal, possibly health insurance, depending on what level of employee you were, as opposed to, oh no, we lost 4 movies this week. That's $80.
Look, I don't know about you, but I'm pro-human. Okay, so
not when it comes to movie rentals.
I'm pro-jobs. I don't know. I'm just I'm very bitter about that point in my life. I wanted to be a movie gallery person forever, so play on.
I'm just speechless. I always assumed you were a Hollywood video guy.
Well, same company actually.
Tell me more.
Yeah, Hollywood Video and Movie Gallery were the same company. Movie Gallery was just another name for whatever. But they were under the same whatever. So yeah.
How do you think? I mean, wildly switching topics here, and maybe a conversation for a different time. But how do you think you would be different if you didn't grow up in Georgia?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because obviously you have a
Um,
love of the creative process and movies, and I know I've seen some of your YouTube stuff before. Like, if you were in a different area, would you have pursued those in a more professional sense, or, you know,
yeah, I will say that I believe that it was, opportunities that are presented to you in different places. Obviously, if I were to grow up in Los Angeles in the city, or, somewhere where that's more in the culture, I believe that there are more opportunities in other places. New York, maybe New Jersey. So, those areas are a little more uh, probably ripe for creative types. But Atlanta has grown. This area has grown. But one of my things is I grew up in rural, I can't say the word, rural, there we go, rural Georgia. So, I grew up in a town with 3,000 to 5,000 people, 32 in the county. I think it's 32,000 in the county itself. So, growing up in that small, I had a saying a while back, I don't know if it came from me, but I heard it somewhere, but kind of like small towns breed small minds. So I feel like I was put in a place where I was very limited. So I did have to kind of overcome some things. Not saying you can't be creative where you are. Well, what's great about now is you have if you have the internet, if you're fortunate enough, or at least, wealthy enough in the middle class to have, a cell phone, access to a laptop or a computer. Really just a cell phone's all you need now for what I was doing with 8mm cameras, handheld recorders. Kids, that's one of those little recorder cameras, if you've never seen one. But I was doing YouTube. I was filming everything when I was very young. I was about 17, 18. Excuse me. As a teenager, I was filming just silly shit and pretty much recording everything. It was part of life. It's going around filming my friends. Jackass was big back in the day. So, it's like, oh, you can maybe have a show if you're just recording stuff, So that's what I did back in the day. And it was far fetched for me to even have a way of editing things. So when editing came along, I got a laptop for the first time in college. I was able to actually sit down and convert some files from analog to digital, post some things, pick and choose, kind of like put some things together that I had filmed years before, kind of throw them on a YouTube channel. But by that time, it was kind of very discouraging as far as the limitations that you have, like I was saying, when it comes to creative in a small town, small environment. Another thing is you have to know people. You have to know people who share your interests. You have to know people who share your vision even. You can even know other creative types, but they may not want to devote 20, 30 hours to making your dumb video or a movie or whatever you're trying to do, especially without paying them. So, they got to make a living themselves. They got to have a job, things like that. And it's a lot like bands. There's a lot of bands that I saw growing up that got together. They were very creative, maybe even released some content or an album. And then one of them would, not saying anything against marriage, but one of them would get married or have a kid or something like that. And then the band would break up, or that became their priority. And, it just kind of went from there. So I'm kind of getting off on a big rant, but I guess I'd say if I grew up in another place with more opportunities, or opportunities with like-minded people, and a little bit more of technology advancement. So if I was born like now or, a few years ago, with these, growing up, I would have had more opportunities, but I have the same opportunities right now, which is kind of the silver lining. So it's never kind of too late to make content, but we are living in a world that's like really just saturated with it now. And that's the problem I'm seeing. Not necessarily a problem, but it's a very saturated market right now. You have videos on top of videos. I mean, you can just sit there and watch TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff. You can watch it all day long. Facebook videos, Instagram, look at pictures, look at videos, something funny, something stupid. Everybody is a director, amateur director, and influencer. So you got all that kind of stuff happening nowadays.
So follow-up question, how many TikTok accounts do you have?
0, actually. I am not going to invest in TikTok because I invested, if you remember, Vine. I did a lot of Vines, and it reminds me a lot of that format. And Vine just went away. So Vine was like, and all my videos that I did are gone. So now I can't look back and, grab them if I need to. And you got talk of like it getting shut down by the government and all this stuff. So I'm good with what I got. I have YouTube, all that kind of stuff. So, not going to go on TikTok, for that reason.
You could be the first TikTok podcast.
Really?
Each episode would be 30 seconds long.
Yeah, we can take and break this whole interview, this show down and do it in 30-second clips and just saturate TikTok with it.
It's like tweeting a novel. You can do it. Should you? No, but you can do it.
It's either, what's funny with this generation, it seems like somebody else was talking about this on another better podcast than this one. But they were talking about how this generation either has like a 30-second attention span or like a 5-hour one. So it's like, that's why you see a lot of these long form podcasts opposed to, 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
Wasn't your first couple episodes 10 minutes or under? Yeah,
I was experimenting, kind of trying to find my groove, kind of see what worked. And I don't want to be limited to like a time constraint. So if the show is kind of what I want in 10 minutes, all right. If it's 3 hours, all right. I don't want to really be constrained from that.
Would there be any sort of limit? I mean, I wouldn't say avid, because I will openly admit I've not heard every episode of the podcast, but I've heard a good chunk. And you do seem to do, as you're saying, experimentation. There are some where it's just yourself. There are some that are completely fictional. There are some interviews. There are some longer forms. Do you think you'd ever hit a point where you would find kind of a style or a motif you would like, and you would keep running under that? Or do you find that creatively limiting, where you appreciate kind of the free form, as you're saying, you can have a 10-minute episode, you can have a 3-hour-long episode, you could have something completely scripted, you could have just an interview. Hell, if you get down to it, you could probably do a musical performance or something like that, if you could get a decent space post-COVID. But would you ever think of making something a little bit more structured, and would you find any creative challenge in sticking with that structure?
Yeah, once again, I really want the job of podcast host. I am interviewing. I appreciate the opportunity for you to interview me here. Any opportunity that I get is great. So I hope I get the job, and I expect follow-up. But, going back to the question, so A stride, yes. I do like a format. So the format thing I'm really liking right now because I did want to do a type of podcast where there was a recording like this. So Zoom has really got me excited this year for the second season because this format's allowing me to record myself, have a background, you know, this kind of style. I like the setup of this. So I'm really a fan of kind of a structured thing. Grew up with Letterman, grew up with Conan, big fans, huge fans of the format. So, you know, you watch every episode. Even as a kid, I was like, in my mind, I knew what was kind of going to happen with the monologue. Like there's a structured show there. You had like a monologue, you had bits. So that was really my favorite part, was when they would do something silly right between the monologue jokes and the interview of the guests. So there was a structure, monologue, bits, which was like Jay Leno's headlines. So he would do the funny bits with, oh, here's a headline, you know, or Conan would do the driving in a car thing, whatever. And then they would bring out their guests. So the structure there is cool. And even, you know, Saturday Night Live has it. They have the cold open, they have the show credits, they have the monologue, and then they have the skits that come on. They have Weekend Update in the middle, and they have that boom, 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 bam thing. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan of structure. But I hope, you know, yeah, I do want to kind of find something there, but at the same time being free to create. So not being really really stuck in one format as well. And that's something cool that, you know, we're able to do, you know, for shows. You can do whatever you want because you don't have, you know, not that I'm a big personality or anything like these guys, but you don't have that constraint to do anything. You know, you can kind of wax on, wax off, and do what you want. So I'm I'm a fan of structure, and hopefully I will find that stride. Yeah, that kind of like. Hello. Hello.
Just looking at you, looking at the logo.
Did you have to take a piss?
No, I'm just I'm trying to find the flow of you. I don't know. I'm good.
What, does that make sense? Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. I said it seems like you're a fan of structure. You're just kind of finding your structure that you want to go with, and not be pigeonholed to it.
Yeah, I'm a fan of. I really like what Joe Rogan's doing. A lot of people do, obviously. So he's just that free form person. He lets it go, and they just take the conversation wherever, you know, and do it that way. There's no frills. There's no bits. There's nothing like that. It's just a straight up interview talk, you know. So that's cool as well.
Now, I guess, is a podcast the medium that you've wanted to do the most, or would you have preferred, or if you had the time or means to do, you know, short form videos or stand-up comedy, or, you know, is a podcast the outlet you're choosing due to circumstance, or truly you think it gives you the most creative freedom?
Podcasts are easier to doing all that thing. So if you've heard, which I'm sure you have, at least from me, not from word of mouth, but I used to do a show called the B&D Super Show back in the day. That was me and my cousin, D, Drew is his real name. We called him D on the show. And a slew of other people, you know, a lot of people helped out on that. So we did that show for years and years and years. And it was really, and I don't want to say I was doing podcasting before it was cool, but you can go back to 2006, something like that. It was I forget exactly when, but it was like 2005 or 2006 when we started doing the B&D Super Show. So, you know, I did these things back then, and it was kind of one of those things where you do it a lot, and you kind of get discouraged. But I do podcasting now because it's easy. It's a lot easier than doing the videos. It's easier than doing the other things. And the reason I say that is like, I can do this by myself if I have to. If I do, and that's what I'm doing now, instead of having a, you know, kind of a team or a guest spots. I'm having guest spots, but as far as like having other people involved in the projects of the B-flo-show, I mean, there's nobody else but me, and I get to decide, you know, how I do it. You know, it is really kind of probably a selfish way of thinking creatively, because it's not like a group project. But I have been involved in a lot of these things where it just kind of falls apart at some point. And that can be painful. It can be embarrassing a little bit. You know, when you're trying to do something and it doesn't really come to fruition, how you see it or how you want it. Not that I'm right and everybody's wrong, but it's still, you know, it's still a pain point to where, you know, you're trying to do something, maybe the next person's not contributing or not wanting to do it as much as you, or, you know, that kind of thing. That's kind of why I came up with the the B-flo-show, is because it was a way of me doing something creative. It was a creative outlet, you know, for me, and I didn't really have to worry. And it was one of those things where I really did need that to jumpstart me again, kind of creatively, because I went kind of down. I didn't do anything for a long time.
Now, you said you play guitar. Do you do any originals, or have you ever decided, or have you ever thought of pursuing music as a creative outlet, as opposed to you maybe just a tool that you can use every once in a while, you know?
Yeah, I've been in a couple of bands that didn't really go anywhere. You know, again, same thing, cross-platform. It's really about having the right people around you, especially with music, with band. Now, you can do solo stuff. You know, I haven't really tried. As far as original songs, I have a couple, but nothing I really want to go on tour with, you know, or really, you know, try in that avenue. You know, I think if I were to do anything with music, it would be more of a comedic Jack Black type thing, or Demetri Martin type thing, where he gets on his guitar and kind of talks about things. But I don't have as much of a passion, I guess you'd say, for music as I do other creative things.
Now, don't you have a few tattoos that are musical based, yet you have no podcasting tattoos?
I have one tattoo that's musical based, but it has more significance than just the music, I guess, which, I mean, of course, it's the band. And the band is really special to me because of the time period that I went through. The music really spoke to me. And, you know, it was one of those things where I was really receptive to the positive message at that point that they were portraying. So that's why I got the music tattoo. But I may get a B-flo-show podcast tattoo at some point, if I'm feeling so. But I don't think I like any other podcasts enough, or they haven't spoke to me enough. I like my tattoos generally to mean something. If I get one, I don't really like to have a tattoo that's like for no reason. So I like I'm that guy. I have to have the story behind it, or the very significant meaning to tattoo something on me forever.
So how much would it take for you to put the cereal logo on your back?
The cereal logo, like Fruit Loops or something?
Like the podcast cereal.
Oh, the cereal logo? Like really big on my back? Like,
I mean, it could be small. I'm not saying it has to be like choppy and grainy. I mean, I don't know, inch by inch.
I'll tell you what, I'm a goal oriented person. So if I get 1,000 more subscribers on YouTube, I will consider it.
Now, why YouTube?
Why YouTube? Well, YouTube I can actually track and monetize. I think I can with other platforms, but YouTube is one of the better ones about giving data. Apple's pretty good as well, but you get more analytics with YouTube and creative content. But to be honest, I haven't really checked into other places as far as like the monetization piece. But with YouTube, you have to have a certain number of subscribers, and you have to have subscribers and views. So to even be in the conversation of getting paid, it's really sad, actually. Shout out to YouTube, but it's really sad kind of what they're paying their people now, even the ones with millions of views. And there's like videos about it. But yeah, you have to kind of do that. I think really the best way to get monetized for a podcast, for you guys out there wanting to start one, is to get advertising and get sponsorship that way, which I don't have, which is cool. So I can talk about anything I want: Oreos, Colt 45, malt liquor, whatever, and doesn't really matter.
Now, I mean, I know you threw those two out hypothetically. It's not like Nabisco is pounding down your door. But if you had to take a sponsorship ad from Oreo or Colt 45, which one would relate more to your audience?
Oh, wow. I don't know. Nabisco? Probably Nabisco.
Okay. So you have a bunch of eaters in your audience.
Well, yeah, and it's diverse. You have the diversity of the Oreo cookie. You have the cream and the crunch and the cookie. Yeah.
Now, what would an Oreo be without the cream?
Cookie. You're right.
Yeah.
Just a
very
Oreo
philosophical
cookie.
So what'd you think about the Las Vegas Raiders, huh?
I really like that Las Vegas has a team. That's funny. Do they bet on themselves?
Sports betting is not a funny thing, Brandon.
If they lose there, will it stay there?
They still play on the road, Brandon.
Home games. If they lose the home game, does it stay there? Does it actually get recorded?
Yes, they're still part of the NFL.
Fine.
Oh, Vegas. What happens? Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, no, totally. What stays there? Yeah. No, the losses still count because they're still a professional sports organization that takes their games very, very seriously.
As do I. Are you going to watch Monday Night Football tonight?
I'm
not. It is Monday.
But prior to your conversation about dating things, let's tell people we recorded this on a Monday.
Or is it a Friday?
I'm actually more of a basketball fan. So it was yesterday when everyone was watching the Falcons game, I was watching the Nuggets-Clippers game. And I'm more excited for tomorrow with the start of the Heat-Celtic series and then Game 7 of the Nuggets-Clippers. But also tonight's games are garbage.
This is bad, but we are in the playoffs with the NBA, right? So I don't even know where we are. So the determination of these two series will be the championship game?
One step. So on the East, it's Heat versus Celtics. Whoever wins there makes it to the finals. On the other side, you have Nuggets Clippers. Whoever wins that will then play the Lakers, and then Lakers and whoever wins tomorrow's game will then play in the. So the East is in the conference finals. The West is still in the finals.
Gotcha. Yeah, huge football fan, not so much with basketball. I do try to keep up with kind of some of the drama and some of the player switches and things of that nature. But yeah, and when the finals get down to it, I like watching it because it's like intense. Without the crowd this year, it's going to be weird, but I do like
The
watching
games
it.
actually haven't been too weird with no fans.
Yeah,
The weirdest
NFL was
thing
like
is
that
because
for me. It wasn't that bad, which I think Jacksonville, was it Jacksonville that let in
yeah,
some,
Jacksonville allowed fans.
there was one city, it was one team. And then some of them are doing, I don't know if you've seen the WWE response to this, which I am a low key, especially nowadays, wrestling fan because it sucks nowadays. But I did see where they're doing a Thunderdome, and I really like the concept of kind of what they're doing. But they're doing these big video, like where the seats are, but they're having like my face, or whoever's face, like in the video, and like having people watching from home like this. I think that's a pretty fucking cool idea, actually.
So that's actually what the NBA does.
Are they
have,
doing that too?
yeah, they have the home team and the away team. Both have fans, like select season ticket holders can be in the game essentially and watch it live like that. And then because it's all taking place on the same court or the same complex, they'll just superimpose for TV's sake the logos on it, which is the weirdest part because you'll just see like they'll show a replay from one angle, and because it doesn't have the green screen in it, the logo's completely gone. And it's like, wait, are we watching the same game? Are we not watching the same game? And that's all that really determines between home and away is, all right, who wears the colored uniforms, who wears the white uniform, and whose logo are we going to put on the court?
The laundry.
Pretty much, the laundry battle.
Dead air.
I just want to make this an editing nightmare for you.
Yeah, just pause. Nothing's coming out, by the way. I'm okay with it. If you are.
Yeah, I mean, you can do whatever. I mean, I assume some of your fans, have taste and standards, so they want some of this taken out. But
I'll probably take out your rants about the Germans.
I mean, growing up Polish, I have my rights.
There you go. You heard it here first. Zach has his rights.
Polish people have rights. I know. And you're gonna have to cut the part from the beginning where you mispronounce my name like 60 times in a row.
Zach Boronczyk?
Yeah, just that on just repeat. So
I love how it came up Zach B. So Zach B is really good.
well, this is the same Zoom I use for my work things. So funny story, which is not a funny story. I at the beginning of COVID was having kind of like friend get-togethers on Zoom. Just meet up with 4 or 5 people online, shoot the shit, everything like that. Those stopped because again you realize, wait, pre-COVID we wouldn't have met up, so why are we meeting up because of COVID? But no, in that it just got to the point where we were just messing with this one guy and changing all of our names to make fun of him. And then we eventually found that you could start changing your backgrounds and stuff like that. So I changed my background to just a photo of poutine, which, if you're not familiar, it's, fries with gravy on top of it with cheese curds. It's a northern thing. There's some places in town that have it, but I changed it to just a photo of poutine, and my name was Try Our Poutine. It's great, only $5.99. Not offensive, not particularly fun.
Was it, so is poutine, is it spelled the same as Putin? Like, was somebody not happy about why was somebody not happy about this, is what I'm trying to understand.
I never changed my name back. So it was a external call. So it wasn't even just an internal with the company. We were meeting clients. And I showed up first, followed by one of the clients. So they had no idea who was on the call with them, other than someone who was just trying to pitch them poutine. So that was the quickest. I left the meeting, changed my name, came back. Oh yeah, this is Zach. Zach's here. Yep. So this strangest thing happened. Like, no, yeah, that is weird. That is weird.
So nobody to this day knows who the poutine guy was.
No one to this day knows that someone tried selling poutine over the internet during a conference call.
Unless they're watching the B-flo-show podcast and they're about 2 hours in.
My last name has not been spoken, so could be plenty of different Zachs.
That is true.
Now, granted, it would be a very, very small world of Zachs that also had poutine gaffes in 2020, but
it's not Zac Efron.
I wish. More like Zach Saffron, am I right?
Oh.
Expensive and yellow.
All right, Zach. So I really appreciate you coming on and doing an episode of the B-flo-show podcast. Is there anything else you want to share out there to the people who are not listening or watching?
I just want to shout out David List's SoundCloud one more time. It's whatever you said earlier and screwed it up. So hopefully people will be able to find it and find a real creative and someone with real talent, other than the two people talking on this podcast.
David List.
Outside of that, keep your masks on. Keep everyone safe. Spay and neuter your dogs. Both, doesn't matter if they're male or female. Do both to them.
Do it yourself. Don't trust the vets.
And I am in the market for a house, so if you see any good house properties, hit me up at 229-834-7704.
I'll put that down on the link below, so you can everybody can call you and text you.
Please do. If not, this was fun. Hope to make it about halfway through this train wreck when it actually comes out before I turn it off.
Yeah,
and,
I'm definitely not. I'll never watch this again. I'm not even going to edit it. I'm just going to put it out there and not even worry about it. But no, it's great, man. We'll have you on some other time. Maybe we can get some video of your face and maybe do a three-way something with somebody. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, I think Adam would love to do this, and I think me, you, and him would have a decent rapport. If not, we can just mock you for an hour straight like we normally do.
Yeah,
and that'd be good
times. Well, all right, Zach, I appreciate it. Don't be a stranger, and remember to take your vitamins.
Peace.